What's up, everybody? This is A Force of Nature, Spiritual Awakening, and today we will be discussing the Black Moon Lilith and the 8th house. So, first, we're going to break down what Lilith is and what Lilith represents. In ancient mythology, Lilith was known to be Adam's first wife, and it was not Eve. Lilith did not want to be controlled or dominated. She did not want to be overpowered. She wanted to be liberated. She wanted to be free. She was very much a rebel and very rebellious. Lilith was made from the ground up like Adam, so inside of them they held within them the same abilities, the same strengths, the same weaknesses. Lilith wanted to do her own damn thing, and because of that, God casted her out of the garden and went on to make Eve to be the more suitable mate, submissive mate for Adam. So it was said and known that Lilith went out into the world, sleeping with demons and being possessed by the devil. She was breaking the rules. She was a rule breaker, a risk taker, okay, and all of those things. Now, when you're dealing with Lilith, you are dealing with your sexual nature, your rawest sexual nature, and it has a lot to do with rebelling against the norm, going against the grain, breaking the rules, going against the status quo. So now, Lilith has a lot to do with being very much destructive, and it has to do when you are really moving on your lower vibration, your lower frequency. Because if you're moving on your higher frequency, some of the things that you will hear today, you will not result to doing, okay? Now, when it comes down to sex and things like that, okay. But when you hear the more destructive things, that is Lilith in its full-blown demonic manifestation. So now the 8th house in the natal birth chart. The 8th house has to do with sex, death, rebirth, transformation, crisis situations, other people's money, other people's finances, inheritance, loans. It also has to do with taboo topics, the astrology, the magical and the mystical. It has to do with secrets, lies, betrayal. And when it comes down to taboo topics, it's really about things that people do not want to discuss nor talk about. This is the very house that dives completely deep into these areas. Okay? So now, we could jump into this right now. Black Moon Lilith inside of the 8th house. Men and women. So now these men and women are going to be very seductive, obsessed with sex and the occult. Sex, death, rebirth, and transformation is going to be very much what these men and women are preoccupied about, what they're constantly thinking about on their mind. And now these men and women can definitely be masters at the occult and occult topics. They can even lead occult groups, secret societies, and things of that nature. So with them, they are going to be very complex, and it's going to be something very rare about them, almost like they're one of a kind. And it's nobody like these men and women, okay? They do hold and possess inside of them some extreme, enormous powers. And they might not even be fully aware to the extent of the powers that they even possess and hold. These men and women will know how to expose the truth out of people. So these are the type of people that can expose you to the point where you don't have a choice but to expose yourself. Expose things that you didn't think you was even going to say, that you didn't want to release out of you. These men and women have the power and ability to be able to pull it out of you, okay? And they also do deal with a lot of trust issues, and they have a jealous streak. They do not like being lied to. They want people to be honest to them. They want people to be truthful to them. They want people to be real with them. They want people to be thorough. They want people to be authentic. They don't like fake shit. And because of this, these men and women can even test their partners, friends, and even family members to the extent to find out if they are going to be honest, truthful, loyal, and devoted to them. Okay, so these men and women definitely know how to play mind games. Okay, they can ask you questions when they already know the damn answer to it, just to see if you're gonna be honest. They can put together scenarios, set shit up in a certain kind of way to see how you're gonna move, just to see if you are loyal. Okay, this is what they can do. This is what these men and women can do. Don't get it fucked up. So now, when the Black Moon Lilith resides in the eighth house of transformation, merging and intimacy, a native will have a complicated journey regarding their sexual self expression and feeling of safety. Being able to openly express one's raw desires requires a significant amount of trust and honesty. Trust in a sexual relationship, partnership, but of course, trust with yourself. Now, these men and women may feel as though they are very comfortable with their sexuality on their own and in private, but struggle with the sharing these desires with partners out of fear of being too much or not accepted. So, like I said, these men and women can really struggle to the point with intimacy. They can struggle with wanting to be able to let their guards down, but with them, they want the intimacy. They want to be able to merge with you. They want to be able to bond with you. They want to be able to come one with you on an intimate level, okay, like you have never seen before. But the very thing that they want is the very thing that they can actually fear. There may be power struggles in the eighth house, Lilith relationships, particularly in the areas of sex and resources. Coming to terms with the idea of authority and channeling resentment towards an entire system is a challenge that these men and women will face. Quite like Lilith herself, an eighth house Lilith person won't take to kindly to submitting to authoritative and financial dominating figures. Someone with their eighth house Black Moon Lilith may struggle with letting go of pain, perhaps more so than others. Secrecy, grudges, manipulation, and revenge are strong themes of this natal placement. Vengeance to this native is often more liberated than forgiveness, but in the long run does very little to contribute to their healing. These men and women ought to separate themselves from pain that they have experienced and learn not to define themselves by their negative experiences so heavily. Okay, so these men and women are going to be dealing with some intense things in their life. They're going to want to really seek out that loyalty, really seek out that trust in somebody. They're seeking it out. Okay, what's happening with them is they come across a lot of scandalous shit. They come across a lot of lies, deception, and betrayal. And because of that, it is very difficult for them to be able to trust people willingly and being able to really feel comfortable to let their fucking wall down, because people have been trying to lie to them, manipulate them, and break down the trust factor with them. These men and women, this is a dangerous placement to have. They can link sex to alchemy, link alchemy to sex. Okay, they can do sex magic if they want to. Yes, they have an aura about them that's very seductive, very alluring, very intriguing. It makes people interested in wanting to know more about them. Okay, get to know who they are on that level. But now for them, they are going to be extremely sexual and they're going to love to have sex, but they want intimacy on top of sex. It's not just we're going to fuck and you're going to fuck me. No, they want to fuck your soul. Okay, so it is very similar to the Scorpio. Okay, but now having Lilith and Scorpio is going to be very similar to this. But the thing with this one is that If you cross them, if you do them wrong, these men and women can actually kill you also, like the Lilith and Scorpio can. Okay, they can kill you. They can seek out that revenge, seek out that vengeance, and be quite content and happy when things jump off and take place. They can be happy about it. Okay, and then they could also be trying to hold back from popping your fucking head off your damn neck. Moving back into the Lilith in the eighth house. So, having your Lilith in the eighth house can complicate an individual's sexual expression. It may be connected with disharmony memories the person has concerning sexuality obtained in childhood. So, these men and women could have experienced seeing sexual events going on and taking place, seeing sex on TV, seeing sex up close and personal. Okay, sex to them could have been very cruel, very rough and brutal. Okay, just watching it visually in their minds. You know, when you're a child, your mind is like a sponge, and it can just be information that's deep into your subconscious mind. But now, just dealing out in your everyday world, everyday life, these thoughts are in your subconscious mind, and it can have the ability to be able to make these men and women act out in certain kinds of ways. So, these men and women connect sex with death. This is what the eighth house is all about. For Lilith being inside the eighth house, sex is a strong stimulation of death. Death can many times be violent, and those darker shades are also passed towards sexuality. And the eighth house Lilith person will enjoy extreme games, while sometimes reach even cruelty in bed. Lilith can bring fantasies of pain, torture, humiliation, or even rape. It awakens the beast in an animalistic sexual depth kind of way. So now these men and women will never indulge in having vanilla sexual relationships. They prefer everything that is rough and animalistic. With Lilith inside of the eighth house, an individual can become a sexual manipulator. So these men and women are the type of men and women that can manipulate to get what they want. Okay, whatever it is, if they want to reach the top, if they want possessions, if they want money, if they want um high status, they can use sex as a weapon to get what the fuck they want, and it doesn't even have to stop there. Okay, they very much are creative in their approach to sex. Now, in extreme cases, and with Lilith having malefic aspects to it, these men and women will become sexual vamps, sexual vampires. The person's sexual drive is so magical that other people find it rather difficult to define. An eighth house Lilith person can be compared to a uh, serene, singing her beautiful and seductive song to the sailors, yet being a dangerous creature that can devour. Okay, so yes, these men and women can be a devil in disguise. They can appear like they are up to being innocent, up to being very kind and gentle. They can be this kind of way and be perceived this kind of way. And they could be the full blown manifestation of the devil, of Satan is fucking self. Okay? So this is gonna be some intense deep shit we talking about. Oh yes it is. As the eighth house is the realm of Pluto, Lilith's presence feeds the desire of owning other people's possessions. We should not forget that the house is ruling other people's money. And such a placement can also indicate a person that enjoys using resources, his partner's resources. Again, in some extreme cases, this can be part of a plan. Oh yeah, they have a plan. These men and women are very skillful. So please know it. If you know anybody with a Lilith inside the eighth house, these men and women are very skillful. And when you're dealing with this placement, these men and women can actually marry somebody and anticipate their death just so that they can obtain their goals, obtain their possessions, wealth, money, etc., etc. They can go to these extremes. They can anticipate it and just be extremely happy that they're being endowed by all of these pleasant luxury things. So now the eighth house, Lilith, creates a mystical persona that makes the chart owner rather secretive. On the other hand, the house of Pluto and Scorpio makes them particularly strong in uncovering secrets of others. As I previously said, these men and women will be drawn to scandalous shit, scandalous situations. Okay, it's going to be drawn to them and they're going to be drawn to it. Where they can be able to dive deep and uncover these fucking secrets that people seem to be trying to hold from them. With them, they pulling them secrets out and they bringing them to the table. Yep, that's what they're going to do. Of course, we should keep in mind that a well aspected Lilith does not bear all that darkness. With such aspects, the person will just have enormous sexuality and can even use it for healing. So, yes, these men and women can heal you through sex, heal your body down to the core. Okay, if you ever dealt with a Lilith in the eighth house, or if you are a Lilith in the eighth house, you know exactly what I'm talking about. In addition, these men and women will have a lot of occult powers, and is advised to be careful with their implementation due to the fact that the Lilith carries a lot of dark energy. He might feel tempted to cause malice even without a reason. In case you have such a natal placement, it is better to abstain from all types of magic until you consciously know what you use and what type of effects you want it to have on other people and yourself. This is something else. Okay, like I said, they have some powers on them, whether you know it or not. Black Moon Lilith in the eighth house, but you got some powers in you, and it is very hard for you to be able to tame these powers. Okay, and I'm sure that anybody who has this placement knows that they have something within inside of them, and they might not be sure exactly what it is. But it's this very fucking thing right here that we're speaking about right now. They have powers of magic, powers of casting spells, powers of diving deep into anything that has to do with the eighth house topics, okay? They can be masters at it. A person with the Lilith in the eighth house will battle with inner fears of failing in matters connected with the eighth house. The fear of death will make these men and women use symbolic stimulation of death. This is a procedure which most of the time happens unconsciously. The soul is preparing itself for the grand passage through small doses of symbolic death during all its lifetime. Be extremely careful about people that have their eighth house Lilith conjuncting Pluto or Mars or any difficult aspect of the malefics. In case you have such a placement, consider giving love a chance in your life. It is many times the absence of love that transforms a tender person to a vicious fucking beast. Okay? So these men and women are sexy, alluring. Okay? They know how to dive deep into occult matters. They know how to look beyond what people are actually telling them, but they can be very crafty, very manipulative, very master manipulators. They want to know what's going on underneath the surface with you. They want to pull it out of you. And this is what these men and women are going to be drawn to. Yes, they can manipulate you with their sex. Use sex as a weapon. Okay, this is another great power that they hold and possess. They can possess their partners. Okay, so you need to be careful with them. So I'm gonna leave this on this note for now. In future videos to come, I will be going more into depth into this placement, Black Moon Lilith in the 8th house. Please be sure to check out my online store. It is Grammy Gear at www.grammygear.com. If anybody needs their tarot card reading, synastry chart, progressive chart, birth chart, asteroid chart for the birth chart, asteroid chart for the synastry chart, or any other services, please check out the About section. Everything is right there. If you want to see a video that you have not seen, please let me know. And also, you can check out the playlist, which will be on the top of the YouTube channel. So, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Love is love. Peace and blessings to you all. And I will see you on the next one.